Okay, ladies, I'm super excited. Let's get going. I'm going to work through this hour of IPA together with you, and we're going to do some simple tasks together of what is important for every day, what you need to be doing to build your business. And then at the end, I want to kind of brainstorm for a few minutes with you guys because I'm having some fresh revelations, quote unquote, some excitement and some ideas. So I just want to share with you, but also want to hear what you guys are doing and loving right now if we have time. But wanted to share really quickly the importance of having a to-do list. And this is a reminder to myself as well, because we are busy people and we want to be working our business consistently, even despite the crazy, right? So I think one thing that has really impacted me over the years is something my mother-in-law told me. She said when she was home raising her babies, there were days where she felt like she didn't do anything. Like she'd get to the end of the day and she'd think back on it. She'd be like, what did I even do? Have you guys ever felt like that? And she said one thing that she started doing in that season was getting a piece of paper at the end of the day and just simply writing out the tasks that she had done, or I'm sorry, not at the end of the day, as she went through her day. There we go. She wrote down the tasks as she was doing them, even if it was simple: diaper change, loaded dishes, swept the kitchen floor. She just kept a log, right? Kept a journal. And she said that at the end of the day, she would look at that and thank God that she was able to get those things done. And it completely changed her perspective. She viewed her homemaking as valuable. She viewed her time serving her family as valuable. And she didn't put herself down like she had been, like I didn't get anything done. It was just crazy, right? Because she had a tangible list of I did these things. So I just want to encourage you with your Plexus business. This is the same thing. When you have a to-do list and a worksheet and you can just check, 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 what a blessing at the end of the day to be like, hey, I did that. I was faithful. I may not have signed on anybody today, or I may have, but regardless, I did the work that I need to do. And I want to switch to another analogy for just a minute before we get going and think of the farmer. We could be a really, really, what would the word be? I totally lost the word, but kind of like a Scrooge. What am I trying to say? Okay, we'll just go with Scrooge. We could be a really Scrooge-ish farmer and only plant a tiny little garden because that's quote unquote all we have time for. When in reality, the farmer could be organized, prioritize his time and his day, even if it's 10 minutes here and there, but he could make time to probably plant a few more rows than what he was doing. And in so doing, the farmer has cast his net much wider as to his possibility of harvest. Do you see what I'm saying here? In our Plexus business, we can tell ourselves, I'm too busy. I have too much going on. I don't know what to do, et cetera, right? We can tell ourselves those things. I've thought those things so many times. So if you've thought them, you're not alone. But the reality is those thoughts are a major handicap. And we don't have to walk in those thoughts. We need to have new thoughts. Okay. So when we start to feel like, I don't know what to do, I'm overwhelmed, we start to have those thoughts, we can go back to the simple checklist that I have as the wallpaper on my phone because the scatterbrained person that I am needs it available. Anyway, we can go back to this simple list and say, okay, I'm going to do these simple things. And if that's all I can do in my business today, fine. I've at least covered the bare minimum. If I can do more, then of course I will do more. I would also encourage you, if you're really serious about ranking up in Plexus, have several pockets in your week. Maybe it's an evening or early mornings or something, where you are doing this list like times 10, where you're doing more reach outs. You're following up with more people. These lists are meant to be simple and with small numbers because we'd rather you commit to one reach out a day and do it and stick with it than do 25 for 1 or 2 days and then quit, right? Have you ever done that before? I have. It's just not realistic. But the converse also needs to be talked about here. If you're wanting to be a jewel, you cannot expect to be a jewel on one reach out a day. If that's what you can do as your bare minimum, great. but schedule the pockets in your week where you can sit down and bust out a large number and do that consistently, right? So I'm just speaking to you like it is. I don't want to sugarcoat anything. It is what it is. Whatever, I guess one final thought would be decide what success is to you. Decide the pace that you want to go at with Plexus. If it's one out a day, be proud of that. If it's five, be proud of that. If it's more, be proud of that. Whatever it is for you, decide what it is. Decide how many you need to be doing with your goals in mind, too, right? And then go with that. Be consistent. That's the point. That is the point. The farmer is not going to reap a big harvest if he just sporadically goes out and throws seeds in the field. No, there is a method to his madness, and he's consistent every day in the work that needs to be done. And then he fully expects a good harvest with the Lord's blessing, right? So, with those thoughts in mind, well, let's get to work. The first thing that I like to cross off my to-do list, I kind of like to do the easy things first and just knock them out because they don't take long, is birthdays. So we're going to go through, if you haven't already, you're going to do happy birthdays. And guys, just a quick tip here. I type up the first message to the first person and I send it in Messenger. I don't post it on their wall because a lot of people do and it just gets lost. But if you are sending them a message, your name will pop up for them more and your post will pop up in their feed more. So send it as a message. And I just type up the first one and then I copy paste that one to every person. If I can personalize it more, like I know them really well, then of course I do that. But just generally speaking, I'm pretty much saying the same thing to every person and just changing the name at the beginning. So that speeds it up for me and I can blow through that list really quick. So I'm going to mute for about 5 to 6 minutes and we can do our happy birthdays.
Hey, Melody. I think Danielle's waiting to get in.
Thank you. Okay. Nobody's in the waiting room. I'll send her the link again. Let's see. Okay. How'd our happy birthdays go? Those are really fun. Quick little tidbit. A lot of times when I send a happy birthday, I'll see that that person I'm talking to, I had sent them a reach out and they have not responded to it. So guess what? By sending them a happy birthday message, I am reminding them of that conversation. So I'm excited about that. Jacqueline, I'll watch for her. I don't see her in the waiting room, but hopefully she'll be able to get in. Okay, so next thing is there she is. We're going to hop on Facebook now and we're going to add at least 2 new friends. We're going to look through the friend suggestions and we want to add at least 2 because we're growing our network. If you're working in Facebook groups, then I would suggest make sure that part of your daily IPA, and I know that's on this list too, but is to be commenting on a post in that group as well. You want your name to be coming up so that you can connect with like-minded people in the group. And sometimes I like to even put up a post in a group like that and be like, hey, I'm interested in, meeting more mamas maybe in my area if it's a local group, or meeting, having more of you ladies in my news feed. I mean, I'll just say it. I would love to like connect more with you as a homeschooling mom, other homeschooling moms, or other this or that. You see what I'm saying? Whatever the group is about, and just put it out there like, hey, if anybody wants to connect as friends, can you comment on this post and we can friend each other? Sometimes that's a post you can put out there, that's a little more direct, but can definitely help grow your audience. And another way is just really being active in those groups. You can post something that is applicable and try to do that a couple times in your week. And that gives you that name recognition. And so people are more likely to either send you a friend request or accept yours. I've actually met several of my leaders on our team that way. So that is really fun to me that that is available. That's how I met Becky. That's how Becky got started. I met her sister and then met Becky through her sister. So it's just kind of fun. That's how I met Amber's sister actually as well. Amber's sister, Julie, I met in a Facebook group. Too funny. Never would have known her outside of Plexus. So anyway, regardless of how you're networking, you do want to be building your friends list on Facebook, or if you're on Instagram, you can do the same thing. But let's go through and just take a couple of minutes now and friend a couple of people. Okay. Okay. Hopefully that just took you a couple minutes, right? Moving on, 10 comments on non-Plexus people's stuff. All right, so I'm just going to share what I do really quick. I love to go through 2 different areas, first of all, so that way I'm not so distracting myself with scrolling. One is stories, especially when I comment or like, send the message on that story and heart it and stuff like that. Those stories will then pop up for me more because not Plexus, Facebook prioritizes them for me or Instagram, right? So I love to go through. I've got certain people that I love following that are not in Plexus, but I want them on my team. And so I love to genuinely comment on their stuff as much as I can. And it was fun this morning. I did that with somebody. Her daughter had a birthday. And so I wrote her this little note and it was so fun. And then she commented on a reel I made this morning. And it wasn't Plexus, but I always mix Plexus in. Anyway, and so I was just really encouraged. I was like, you know what, Melody? Like, you are building relationships by doing this. Keep doing it. Had a little pep talk with myself. Anyway, so I love going through the stories. And then secondly, is both on Facebook and Instagram, you can make a certain list of your like favorite people. And so I always have favorite lists going of non-Plexus people that I want to engage with, I want on my team, so that I can click on the list and then I can just start going through those posts and commenting. So we're going to take about probably a good 10 minutes here. And you may or may not get all 10 comments made, but we're going to go ahead and try, right? I would just encourage you with this. We do want to be as genuine as possible. So if someone hasn't posted anything new, just no scarcity. There's plenty of people out there. Go look for somebody else. And secondly, I try to add a value adding comment. I don't know if I'm always the best at it, but it's not just like an emoji. Like I'm actually talking and engaging with them. So, all right, here we go. Hey, Becky, welcome. We're going through right now and doing 10 comments on non-Plexus people's posts or stories. So we've got about 5 minutes left, just so you know what we're doing. Welcome, welcome. Okay. All right. I'm moving on. Um, so on the list is, let's see, this is such a simple IPA list, but it says start a product conversation, start an opportunity conversation. But again, whatever you've committed to, you're doing one reach out a day, three, five more, whatever it is, whatever you're doing, I would encourage you to really just be faithful in that. And so on this list, if you're following this, it's start one conversation about the product and one conversation about the business. And I just want to give you a couple quick tips. So, first of all, have a running list. You don't want to sit down to work and be like, I have no idea who to reach out to. I mean, sometimes that happens, right? But we don't want that to be the norm because then we waste time trying to figure out who to reach out to. So have a running list of people you want to reach out to. Maybe you've printed off your Facebook friends list. I would encourage you, if you've never done that, do it and work through that. One thing that I like to do, I have a really big Facebook friends list now because I've been little tip here. I didn't have a big friends list when I started Plexus. It was super tiny. So I've just been building it. But it's really big now. And so I have a lot of new people on there. And I know there's a lot of people I haven't reached out to about Plexus yet. So one thing that I will do to start new lists is to look through who's watching my stories. Okay. So this can be a great way to even just give you some confidence like, okay, those people are watching my stories. I really need to talk to them. Yeah, we need to have that passion, right? For example, if I go through and have maybe 4 or 5 slides about a product and I see somebody and I'm like, oh, I don't think I've reached out to her and she watches all the slides, that may or may not show interest, but she did watch all of them. And if she's watching my stories, even my personal stories, I will reach out to people that watch those because I know they're paying attention to me. Anyway, so that can be a great way to be like, okay, I'm going to reach out to her about the products. And I could even reference like, hey, I feel like, or I don't think I've ever reached out to you about plexus and gut health. And I really love these products. Is this something you've heard much about? Or is this something you've tried before? Usually, my first message like that in an initial product reach out is very short. I'm not trying to give them a pitch or convince them or anything like that. In fact, I never try to convince somebody. That's just a personal policy of mine. I am happy to give facts and have conversation and answer questions and go back and forth like that. But I just never want to feel like I'm convincing anybody because that's not going to work out well for them or me. Anyway, so if I see that they have watched my product stories, I will often send a short message like that because I'm just looking to see if there's an open door, right? I'm not looking to see if Sally Sue is ready to sign up this minute with Plexus. I'm just willing to see is she willing to talk? Is she an open door? Is she open to any type of conversation? Okay, that's what I'm looking for. And then I'll just go further and say when she responds back in the affirmative that she's interested, maybe she wants to learn more, maybe she's having some certain physical issue and she would love to see resolved or she wants to get off the medication. A lot of times those are common responses when someone is interested and they're not just saying no, right? Then I have a message or kind of in my mind have a message ready to go. And that is usually something along the lines of I am so sorry you're struggling with that, right? I'm going to show some empathy. I'm going to put myself in their shoes. And then I'm ask a question. I might say something like, how long have you been struggling with that? Have you found anything that helps? Are you on any medication for it? I'm not going to ask all of that at once, but those are just some ideas to show empathy, to show that I'm willing to talk about them. I want this to be about them. I want this to be about their problems and finding them a solution. This is not about me. Okay. So that's the first part of my message. And then I usually in that same message will go ahead and say, curious about that. I also run or I am a part of a plexus and health or gut health information page on Facebook. Would it be okay if I invited you there? Because there are articles and info on that page specific to the IBS you're struggling with or whatever her issue is. Okay. And then I stop talking. Let her answer. She's going to tell me more about her issue. Yeah, I've been struggling with this for years. I just got it diagnosed or whatever, right? And yes, add me to that group. I would be interested in the info you have. And so then at that point, you know what to do, right, ladies? We do the same thing every time. We add them to the page. We tag them in 3, 4, 5 posts that would relate to them. The first one I start with is the one that says, "What is triplex?" It's pinned at the top of our testimony page. And then I search in the search bar of our testimony page for their issue and tag them in some posts. So, anyway, I'm just going through that to give you confidence and to remind you that people are looking for health answers. And if you view yourself as a connector, where you can connect people to information, it really kind of helps take the fear of reaching out of it. You didn't send them a sales pitch. You didn't send them a big long message. You just said, "Hey, are you open to a conversation?" When they said yes, you connected them to information. Okay, you see what I'm saying? And then obviously you can go from there. But I'm just talking about initial reach outs like right now. Okay, somebody had a comment that I missed. Laura, do you have to look at that daily? Can you see? Actually, yeah, you can see your history, Laura. If you go to your profile, let me do it right now so I tell you accurately. If you go to your profile page on Facebook, so that's my page, there's a little button with 3 dots next to the edit profile button. Click that, and then you're going to click archive. Yep. And then there's the option at the top that says story archive. You're going to click that. And then it's going to show you your most recent stories. You can scroll when you touch them. You can also see the people's names at the bottom. So just click the little arrow there and it will literally show all the people that watched that story. Oops, I'm trying to scroll. There we go. So that you can see who watched that story. Does that make sense? Hopefully that answers your question. Same for Instagram. Same thing. You can go see history. Is that right? I know you can at least see your stories. Hang on. Whoa. Maybe I'm telling you the wrong thing here. Sorry. Okay, on Instagram, go to your, I don't know if you're on Instagram or not, but let's just all do this. Go to your page. There's 3 lines instead of 3 dots. Click that. Archive, story archive. Yes. Now, does this one show who was watching? Yeah. Yep. Cool. Okay. So now we know. Okay, so back to what I was saying. We want to be reaching out about the products, but we also want to reach out about the opportunity. So if anybody has special verbiage you like to use on that, feel free to put that in the comments and share with us. But I will just tell you, if I see someone, which I often do, in my Facebook newsfeed or my Instagram, and I'm like, "Oh my goodness, she would be amazing at this business," I just pop on a voice message and I tell them. Yay, Laura. Okay, I'm glad that helped. Yay. Okay, so I just hop on a voice message to that person. I just tell them. Because honestly, and this is just my opinion, you don't have to follow this, but honestly, I really feel like they need to hear it in your voice that you really feel like they could be good at this. That's just me, but I just feel like when I type it out, it's just not as strong, although I do plenty of typing too. But I just want them to hear my emotions and to say, "You know what, Susie Q, I've been watching your posts. I love that you post this and this. I see this in you. I see this in you. And so I'm wondering if you have ever considered an opportunity like what I'm doing with Plexus. I share about these products, I share about this compensation plan, I help mamas feel better, and I have built a massive income. I would love to share more with you." Something along those lines, right? Are you open to that? So my message isn't very long, but it is specific to them. And then I just basically ask, "Are you interested at all in chatting?" Okay. So these are important messages to send out, and they can be a little bit more scary, maybe, but I will tell you what, I get the most positive response from this type of message. Because even if somebody's like, "No, thanks, I don't want an opportunity." I mean, that's a whole nother conversation as far as what to say when someone says stuff like that. But just in general, I cannot tell you how sweet the messages are that I have gotten back. "Oh my goodness, I can't believe you sent that to me. That was so kind of you. Thank you so much. Nobody's ever told me that before." Nobody's like, it blesses people's socks off when you tell them what you see in them. And whether or not they're ever going to join your team, you have blessed them. And that is all about what we do, right? I'm all about that. So anyway, I had to change my framework. Like I'm just sharing this in case it helps, but I used to view sending out a business message as scary. Um, are people really going to want to look at my opportunity? Like, I'm not a diamond. I haven't made it to the top yet. Are they going to be like interested in doing this with me? Like I had a lot of those thoughts, but when I changed it to, you know what, this is about them and whether they join or not, I'm going to call out some qualities I see in them and encourage them in some way. And then tell them, and because of those things, I think you'd be really great at this. I'd love to work with you. I have no idea if this would interest you or not, but I would love to chat more if you're open. I am saying that, of course, too, but it just totally changed my thoughts about sending business reach outs. And it made it so much easier because it wasn't about me. It wasn't about how I looked in front of them or what they would think of me. It was about them. Okay, so hopefully that helps you guys too. But I'm going to go ahead and mute for a few minutes. If you're following this list, then it's one product message and one business message, or you can do several reach outs, whatever you want to work on. But I'm going to mute for about 5 to 10 minutes so we can work on that. Okay. I'm going to cut it a little bit short. Sorry, we're just running out of time. Okay, so really quickly, another thing on the list is following up about plexus. And I would encourage you to do one of two things. One, if you already have a team, you definitely want to make sure you're making time to answer their questions and also checking in with your wholesale customers that aren't working the business as well, right? So that needs to be a part of every day, even if it's just one person a day. Check in on your customers. How are they doing? Send them a Triflex video, ask them if they've seen it. Um, Send them a video on healing by Jessica Hugendorn. If you do not have a customer care like checklist, Megan has that on our team pages, and we can use those to really have a good follow up system for checking in on our customers. But if you do not have a big team, I would really encourage you, because your name of the game for you is signing people up and growing your team. Okay. And so follow up for you means following up with people that haven't already started Plexus. So you've talked to them about Plexus. Maybe you had a conversation and they went quiet, or maybe you messaged them and they never responded. So these people would fall under this category. Okay. And so we want to be reaching back out. If we are passionate and excited, then we want them to know about Plexus. And so we don't want to make up a big story about why they didn't message us back or why did they go silent in the conversation. They must not want this. No, 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 no. We're not doing that. We don't have time for that. We are excited to share Plexus with them. And they probably just got busy. They probably read the message and then had to change the baby's diaper and had to run an errand and totally forgot to respond. So it's very professional of us to follow back up on that conversation. Maybe say something along the lines of, Susie, I had so much fun, or it was so good to chat with you last week about Plexus. I was thinking of you today and I wanted to message you and see where you're at with that. Did you have some questions that I could help you with? Or have you thought of something else that has come up that you have a question about? Something along those lines. Try to get that conversation going again. If you got them in the testimony page, I would go over there and tag them in a few more things again, like you did before, just so that they're seeing some information, because that page, even if they're on it, may not be popping up in their news feed until they really engage with it. So you continuing to tag them in some things is going to help them see the Plexus stuff. Okay, if it's somebody that never responded to you at all, then I would send honestly kind of a similar message. I would say something like, Susie Q, I am sure you're super busy. I'm super busy too, but I thought of you again today. And I know I messaged you last month, or maybe say something like, I know I've mentioned Plexus to you before, but I'm just having so much fun chatting with other ladies about it. And so I'm really curious if you've ever heard of it, or I'm really curious if you've ever given it a try, or I'm really curious if you have any of these issues on this list, and then put like that graphic that has like all these issues that are related to candida, right? If I will say, little tip here, if I know this person is really into health, then I will go ahead with that candida message, because that gets people's attention. It really does. Okay. If you're just saying like, have you heard of Plexus? If they don't know anything about it, they may just continue to ignore your messages. So sometimes switching it up, bringing new information to the table is really helpful. Again, another follow-up idea would be sometimes if I know they have a particular issue, I'll screenshot a short testimony in our testimony page and send them that screenshot and be like, I just saw this. I don't know if this is something you'd want to look at, but these supplements help people with the same issue that you're having. So I just wanted to let you know that and connect you with this info or something like that. If you don't know that they're having any issues, but you want to send them some information, and a lot of times you get a feel for people when you scroll through their Facebook wall, right? So if there's somebody that's already into health, then I really love sending the candida graphic, because they probably have heard of candida and they probably don't realize how many of their issues are related, or they already do and they're looking for an effective remedy, right? But I might also send them like a short like Jill Werness or Jessica Hugendorn video, or Brooke Hemingway, about what the products do, and just say, I don't know if this is for you or not, but I felt like I just needed to send this over. This video is short and it explains about our products and how they help your gut. I'm curious if you have time to watch it. Something short and sweet, but you want to follow up with people and get the conversation going. And most people will really appreciate that because they forgot. And if they're not interested, they'll tell you. I had a girl tell me no the other day, and she's like, I'm already on some really good quality supplements, but thanks anyway. And so we've just kind of been chatting since then. And I'm like, cool, that's awesome. And we just have kept chatting. Because again, I'm never here to convince, but I am here to connect. Okay. All right, so let's pause just for a couple minutes. We're just about out of time, but I'm going to give us 3 minutes. And I would encourage you either check in with someone on your team, or if you are not where you want to be in Plexus and you want to recruit, follow up with somebody that went silent on you or who has never responded. Okay, here we go. And by the way, keep a list of those. It helps it be a lot easier when you go to do your work and you're not scrambling like, oh, who should I follow up with? Okay, so congratulations, you worked through the list. Other than posting, that's on the list too, but we're not going to take time for that. But I did just want to brainstorm for just a minute while you guys are on, because I am so inspired right now following a couple of different people. Jacqueline, go ahead before I start talking. You have your hand up. Go ahead. Oh, you didn't mean to? Okay. I've done that so many times. Okay. So no, you're good. I've just been so inspired by Brenda Martin. I shared this with some of you earlier, but she has recently grown her Instagram in a really, really big way. And how she's done that is she's committed to doing one reel a day. And whether you're on Facebook or Instagram, I just wanted to take a minute and share a little tip and just brainstorm with you for a minute. So if you have a pen and paper, get that out. Okay, because here's what I think happens if you're anything like me. We want to post about Plexus, but we're not sure what to say. We want to post about our family and our other interests, but we don't know what to say. Okay, so here's your tip. Get out a paper and pen, have it available to you during the day. Have one right now because we're going to work on this for a minute, but have it available to you during the day. When an idea comes, jot it down fast because you won't remember in 5 minutes, or maybe that's just me. But anyway, jot it down. Especially, I will say this, especially if you are with your kids or you're not in your Plexus work time. You need to have paper available because you'll lose the idea and you don't want to have that frustration of, I gotta remember this idea while you're trying to be fully present for your family. That's just not fair to you. It's not fair to your family. It's not fair to anybody. So have your paper, just jot it down when that quick idea comes and then set it aside and be fully present. Anyway, we're going to do this right now. So I went through yesterday. I was like, okay, if I'm going to do what Brenda Martin is doing, whether you're doing a reel on Facebook or you're just wanting, or I'm sorry, on Instagram, or you're wanting to do a post on Facebook, whatever you're doing, I'm going to say reel on Instagram because that's what I'm doing. But here's what I did. So yesterday I went down. You probably can't really read this. I don't even know if it's backwards. Sorry, guys. But I made Instagram ideas and I did some different categories. So for example, I want to give some mealtime tips for busy families. Plexus, what are some specific things I want to say? I'll share more in a second. Another category I have is raising teens, because I'm slowly getting into that category. And then I have a couple specific things that I want to make reels about. And what I did for each of these ideas is I wrote the first line or the first phrase of what I want to say in the reel to kind of trigger, my thoughts about that, if that makes sense. Maybe that's just how my brain works. But so for example, I have a series I want to do. I don't know why I'm telling you guys this because now I hope I do it right. No, I hope it turns out. Okay. So I have a series I want to do. As a mom, I want to ... and then have different things like be present, be fully present with my kids, or snuggle them often, or speak life over them. Just different things like that, right? And so I wrote us a whole list of specific things that I want to do as a mom. And so I want to make a reel about each of those. Another thing is like in my homeschool, what are some specific things I want to do in my homeschool? It could be about gardening. What's one thing specifically I want to teach my kids in the kitchen? I mean, take your paper and pen out. We're going to hop off here in a second, but I want you to just list out specific things. Okay, let's go back to the plexus because we're going to sprinkle plexus in, right? So under the plexus category, I wrote some specific one-liners, okay? One of them I wrote is, I want to feel ... So again, you fill in the blank for you, but for me, it's like, I want to feel like I slept deeply and I have energy. And it's not even breakfast time, so something like that. And I'm going to make a reel and that's it. And then in the caption, I'll write more, right? I'll give a quick explanation of I was this, now I'm this. And I took the plexus triplex and it has this, and this, or comment to find out what I took, or there's so many things you could do. Another one is, I used to wake up every morning and ask myself, is today a headache day? Now that's specific to me and my story, obviously, but that gives you guys an idea. I used to wake up every morning and ask myself, is today a headache day? Another one is, okay, I don't really want to post this one. Maybe I will just leave it at that. But I used to have a lot of bathroom issues, guys. So I'm trying to think of like an appropriate way to post about it and not be rude. I don't know. But anyway, that's what we talk about in plexus. We're moms. We're already talking about it anyway.
Just say
we'll
it.
talk about it.
The accounts I like the most are the ones that are very real and blunt. They're not trying to poof it up and make it flowery. They don't use poopery on their posts.
Stephanie's helping me be brave. My overly polite self is like pride right now, but you're right.
Well, I feel like the ones that are doing that, like, I'm like, okay, they're telling the truth.
Yeah, because it's relatable. It's relatable, right? It's not like sugarcoating anything. I want that. Like, I don't want something sugarcoated. I want to know, like, this is how it is,
Yeah.
Okay, so we have to hop off. Our time is gone, but I hope this was a blessing to you guys. And I would just encourage you, take that paper and pen and just literally write out prompts because this removes the stress. If you're anything like me, this removes the stress. So when you need an idea, you're like, okay, I need to do my reel for tomorrow. I need to get it ready. You can go to your list, be like, okay, this is what I want to do. I also, one last thing, you guys probably do this too, but I love to save people's stuff. When it inspires me, whether it's a plexus or non-plexus person, but I'm like, oh, I really love how she said that, or just that idea. So I save it and then I can recreate it myself. So anyway, there you go, guys. I loved working with you. I hope it was helpful and I hope you have a good day, guys. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Melody.
Thank you.
You.